What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 33 of Overhand Right Radio. I am your host, Jason, and sitting across to me, of course, is Cole. And we're going to talk about what went down in Austin, Texas. Man, that was a good card. You know what? I have to say, that card for a fight night, live, free on TV, you had some great knockouts, some great performances. I thought it was a really good card.
I found it to be great. The depth was unbelievable. The co and the main were the real selling points of this card, and they both came through. Throughout both those two fights, there was fantastic action, and both ended in a way where it was a TKO for Derek Lewis, and then a KO for Cerrone. So both are great. Both of the marquee hometown guys won. So from that point of view, it was great for the UFC, but. Yeah, it was great all around. I really enjoyed it.
And it's funny because those were two really good knockouts, tremendous knockout by Derek Lewis and Donald Cerrone. But one knockout that came earlier in the card, a couple fights before, it might have been a knockout of the night. We'll predict that later. But Curtis Millender with his knee over Thiago Alves. Look, he's a huge welterweight. Big, tall, lengthy guy for 170, so division watch out. And he's one of those guys that comes in and fits the mold of the 170 division with, the Ponzinibbio's, the Mike Perry's, the Darren Tills on the rise of 170. So that's going to be interesting to see the growth of that division with all these young cats coming up. But let's talk about that. Beautiful performance. The only thing I think that he did wrong in this performance is raise his hands a little too early when he got the knockdown on Thiago Alves. But other than that, very good. His striking looked very crisp. He's very athletic and talented. He just uses his jab and his length very good. I thought that performance really set a tone because he got a beautiful knockout, like I said, with the knee at the end. So Millender, what's next for him? Look, I think he'll creep up and maybe get a shot against a guy in the top 15, possibly. But overall, very good performance by Thiago Alves. What did you take away from that? Because I thought, man, this is another guy that can climb the ranks of the 170 division pretty easily if he keeps on performing like that.
Well, he's one of the group of guys that are these young emerging welterweights. And when he won, I said, man, there's another dude. There's another dude that you look at and you see, wow, he's got the skill set. He's a priority. His priority in fights is stand-up, and that's where he's great at. But you can see, also, he has the ability of takedown defense. Now, to what level, could he stop a shot from a Tyron Woodley or something? We don't know, but he's very young. But you see guys like him, Darren Till, Kobe Covington, they have one aspect of MMA, or all aspects of MMA, depending on each guy, that are what you would put in the caliber of championship level. Kobe with his wrestling, Darren Till, size and striking and distance. I mean, the knee he hit Alves with, it wasn't even that hard of a shot. If you really watched it, he was almost hand fighting. They were hand fighting, almost double the double, and then he threw the knee, and he threw the knee like an uppercut. And Alves was only worrying about punches really at that close range, right? Because he was getting kicked, but he thinks, hey, I'm in this close range. He can't kick me anymore. His hands I see are in front of me, but then he brings that knee up, and it acts as almost a third hand in that clinching situation, and they weren't even really clinched. So I mean, it was a great knee. Yeah, I mean. Before this fight happened, I even said to you, I said, man, I watched this guy in the open workouts a bit, and I watched some of his history, and I said, man, the Elvis of now is going to have some legit problems with him, and he didn't during the fight. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't throw him in. I don't think he's where Darren Till is, because I don't put Alves and Cerrone in the same category. I think what Darren Till did to Cerrone was such a leap.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Ngannous haven't even done what Till did. Right? Because of the division, Ngannou kind of beat Overeem and beat some,
The depth-wise, I know what you're saying.
Right? So
depth and welterweight is way better than heavyweight.
So he kind of jumps up that kind of short, shallow of a pool in heavyweight. But what Till did is even more impressive. Because of how deep welterweight is, him jumping up to beat Cerrone, I think, was the most impressive out of any of these young up-and-coming guys in any division right now. So I don't put Alves and Cerrone in the same situation. So Milner, to me, was an impressive win. Did he get his name, out there and on the map a bit of the young upcoming guys? Yes. But can I put him up into the Till range? No. But he's definitely creeped into the top 10. Well, he deserves a top 10 opponent.
Yeah, mostly because Darren Till, he's a top 10 guy. He has a couple of victories. Don't forget, Milner's first UFC fight comes in here. He fought in Bellator before, Legacy Fighting Alliance. So this was his UFC debut, but I think flawless. I think maybe give him one more fight and then possibly creep up into the top 10s.
Well, who's at 10 and 9 right now?
Well, you look at 10, you got Santiago Ponzinibbio, which is
right.
That's a tough dude right there.
Who's 9?
9 is Kamaru Usman.
Yeah,
just think about the depth in welterweight when we're talking about this. We talk about it all the time. Donald Cerrone's 11. Yancey just fought 15. So he might have to get 1 or 2 more fights before he gets up there, just because the depth of the division. But I think with his skill set, that shouldn't be a problem until he creeps up against the more elite guys. Man, but like you said, it's hard to take away that from one fight.
Welterweight, I'm just in awe because
it's amazing.
Look at the champion, okay, Tyron Woodley. Now list down the guys from 1 to 10.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, RDA, Colby Covington, Robbie Lawler at 4, Damian Maia at 5, George Masvidal at number 6, Till at 7, Neil Magny at 8, Kamaru Usman at 9, Ponzinibbio at 10, Donald Cerrone 11, Carlos Condit at 12, Gunnar Nelson 13, Dong Young Kim at 14, and Yancey at 15. Death row.
Every one from 1 to 10 will give Tyron Woodley problems.
Yes. And you know what?
That's crazy.
And I would have to say this. The UFC needs to act on this, and they need to act on the welterweight division. People are saying, hey, people are saying how bad Conor is, which Conor is pretty bad because it's been a year and a half. But Woodley needs to jump in there too. I know he got the shoulder surgery. I know he's coming off that too. But right when he's recovered, they got to put him back in there. Because right now, they have a clump from 1 to 3 because people want Colby Covington to get the shot. People want RDA to get the shot against Woodley. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's kind of sitting there. He needs to step up, and I think win a few more fights if he wants to verse Woodley again, because he can't just sit there and say, hey, I'm the number 1 contender. You had 2 chances. It didn't go your way. You need to act upon it if you want another shot at Woodley. And you just see guys like Usman and Ponzinibbio calling people out. And I think these veterans, these guys within the top 5, need to do something to... Everybody's talking about these young guys coming up. Like I said, Ponzinibbio, Perry, Yancey, Donald Cerrone, all these people. Usman. The veterans need to do something in the top 5 and go, look, I know there might be a ranking gap, but we want to fight these guys. We want to show that, yeah, okay, they might be the future, but the future's not now. And the young guys want to go, no, the future is now. So I think the UFC needs to act upon some title shots, get Woodley out there and active, and also make some marquee fights in the welterweight division. But let's move on. Also, another good performance. Didn't get a finish, but another good performance would be James Vick over his victory versus Francis Trinaldo. Look, he did what he needed to do. Yeah, I cruised in the 3rd round. Yeah, I wasn't the most active. But he won the fight 30-27 across the board. He used great techniques. I love that side kick to create distance. He's a huge, tall, light heavyweight guy. I mean, I believe they said he was 6'3" on the broadcast. I'll look it up too, but...
No, he is a 6'3". Okay, when I saw him, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's a 6'1". He's a 6'3" lightweight.
That's crazy, dude.
What?
And
I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
And I would be a heavyweight, by the way. That's crazy. I mean, 6'3" lightweight? Are you... Dude, a 6'3" welterweight's impressive.
Yeah. And you know what? He has a record, got his 13th win. He's 13-1. And I think it's time James Vick gets a good fight. I loved how he used his technique. He didn't get the finish on a card full of finishes, so it might get overlooked. But he had a really masterful performance, even though he didn't get the finish, and the 3rd round was maybe a little bit of a cruise. But I really liked his performance. Now, if we're looking ahead and saying, hey, he's number 12 in the world, maybe he should get matched up against someone else. I think he deserves a top 10 opponent, no doubt about it. Hopefully closer to maybe number 6 or number 7. Right now, lightweight's a little booked up. You got, Michael Chiesa. You got Anthony Pettis booked up. Nate Diaz, who knows what's going on with him. Poirier Gaethje you got going on. So I think a fun fight for him would be Kevin Lee. Both guys are young, talented, want to get into that top 5 range. They want another title shot, if you're Kevin Lee, that is. So I think that would be a good fight. What do you think about James Vick taking away from this fight? I thought overall it was a great performance. He showed flashes. He showed he was the better fighter than Trinaldo, and I thought he did a perfect job.
Yeah, well, like he said in his post-win interview, he asked for a test in the top 10. And I think his record, his body of work, he should get it. Right? He deserves it, and I totally agree with
no doubt about that.
His statements when he was talking to Jimmy Smith after. Completely agree with that. I want to see him against a really elite wrestler. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's versed. I mean, he hasn't versed that guy who could probably just take him down and smother him. I want to see that aspect of his game, which he hasn't versed that top wrestler simply because he hasn't versed a top really 10 opponent yet. So he hasn't got that test. But I would like to see that part of his game. Now, if he can stuff a takedown, I mean, he could fight anyone in the top 10, especially in a stand-up fight. He's so long and rangy, he would give everyone problems. Just based on the range he has, the length he has. You know what I mean? He would give any one of those guys problems. Yeah,
James Vick's also a blue belt on the ground. Great jiu-jitsu. But it'd be interesting to see if he, the lightweight isn't full of these strong, powerful wrestlers. Yeah, you got Kevin Lee, and, once you get up there with Khabib and Tony Ferguson, it's another game. But that's not what he's looking at within the next couple fights. It'd be interesting to see, but I think James Vick, overall, he's got a good future ahead of him, 13-1. And I would like to see the fight with Kevin Lee. I think that's a good fight between two young guys trying to climb up the ranks of the 155 division.
And that would test his wrestling.
Yeah, and that would test his wrestling because Kevin Lee,
he's no Khabib.
No,
but he's a guy that took a guy like Michael Chiesa and held him down and beat him up and choked him out.
Yeah.
So James Vick would get a taste of someone who doesn't want to stand up and is a good wrestler that can probably hold you down. How do you deal with a guy like that, right? How do you deal with a guy like that? And so, I mean, that's what they said about Conor, until he versed Mendes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you overcome a guy like that? How do you deal with that? Because there's not too many elite wrestlers outside of the top 10 in the lightweight division. So that's just something I think he's never been tested really on, but he again looks like a milliner, a tall, rangy guy who can give multiple problems in the stand-up to anyone he versus in the top 10.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think the future's bright. Let's get in the heavyweight co-main event, man, because that fight was...
I liked it.
Really? For a little bit, I thought it was a little bit... Let's just say there was some holes exposed in these guys' game. Now, this being said, I will give Derek Lewis credit.
There were holes exposed, but were you surprised by Derek Lewis can't wrestle? We kind of knew that. We knew that Marcin's stand-up isn't the best in the world. We kind of knew that. This fight was more about who's going to expose whose holes. That sounded horrible, by the way. I just said
keep it clean, people. This is a family show.
I just said that. I was like, whoa, exposing holes, and okay. I'm going to say weaknesses for now.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I can't even do this right now. Who
exposes the weaknesses? I'll help you out.
Right, in the first round, Marcin tried the stand-up game with Derek Lewis. Wasn't going too well.
No, it wasn't good for him.
And then he decided, he got the late takedown in the first, I believe, and kind of felt like, I can really control it from here. And then the second round, he did the same thing, right? He didn't even really try to test the stand-up again,
nope.
Right? And in the third round, he took him down again, and you're like, man, this is not going well, right? Lewis needs to get it back up to his feet and punch, and that's what he did. And the minute they stood up, and Marcin he did not look comfortable in the stand-up, and Lewis did not look comfortable in the ground game.
Here's my thing, though, with Lewis. I will give him credit, because like I said, on Instagram he came out and he said, look, I'm going to work on my wrestling, I'm going to work on my jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people sometimes, they don't like to work on that. They kind of work on their hands, thinking, oh, I'm a big, powerful striker in the heavyweight division. You know, I can knock anybody out. And they don't really focus on their weaknesses. But if I'm Derek Lewis, I give him credit because I'm going, man, you got bombs in your hands, right? You're a winner of 7 of your last 8. The only person you lost to is Mark Hunt. Okay?
His first punch on Marcin, and Marcin was like, oh, well, he knocked him down.
Yeah.
Or I think it was the first or second. And Marcin instantly looked at like, whoa, okay, different level of power, right? Like when Marcin versus Fabricio, you know, he was standing in the pocket, they were exchanging, because nothing was really hurt. I mean, Fabricio can't really punch. The first minute, or the first punch he felt at Derek Lewis, and it was like, whoa, I'm dealing with something different here, right? Basically, like when the fight just happened.
No, I have no idea what you're
talking about. Ngannou and Stipe,
yeah.
Curtis Blades and Hunt and Hunt and Ngannou and guys like Derek Lewis, they have a different punching power than the rest of the division. Now, for all of those guys, it's like you said, working on their weaknesses.
Wrestling's a little suspect.
The wrestling doesn't have to, you don't have to be a Division I Olympian like Daniel Cormier. But Marcin threw some, lazy takedowns, and Lewis went with it, right? And Lewis has always had a cardio problem too. You know, he got really tired really early on, and I understand when you throw big bombs, it tires you a bit.
Yeah. But like I said, I will give him credit because he realized, like, hey, I need to go and work on my wrestling, work on my jiu-jitsu. Because, if he versus a guy like Marcin again, and he raised up his takedown defense, well, you stuff a guy, now the other guy's getting tired. You're not as gassed, right? He did get gassed early, but that's because in the first round, he's not comfortable on the ground. So he tries to explode, and he tries to use a lot of energy. He's not really technically sound. He shook off Marcin once, but that's just due to his brute strength. He's a huge, strong heavyweight guy. But I think if he works in the technical aspects and the takedown defense and his jiu-jitsu, and even if he gets taken down, works on getting back up so he can put the fight where people are uncomfortable and keep the fight on the feet, I think he has a good shot of being a champion. This being said, he's going to have to probably win a couple more. That loss to Hunt was a big loss. But like I said, 7 out of the last 8. The heavyweight division isn't right now the depth like we were just talking about the welterweight division. So I believe if he's at number 7, I believe if he gets 2 more wins, we can be talking about title shot. But the thing is, the people within the top 3, those are some dogs up there. So we'll see. When we go to Derek Lewis, I got an interesting fight. I might have stole off someone they saw on Twitter, but I saw this, and I was thinking the same thing. They made it public. I didn't quite tweet it out because I was laying in bed when I was thinking about this. But I would really like to see Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou.
Ngannou versus Hunt, Ngannou versus Lewis. Give me one of them.
I think Lewis versus Ngannou. I think that's a fun fight to make. I think
that fight has been boiling a bit. Like Lewis has always been kind of calling out Ngannou a little bit.
Yep.
And
it's against 2 guys that are Francis Ngannou got the title shot, but young, up and coming, young guys that can be cornerstones of this heavyweight division when some older veteran guys like Alistair and Fabricio decide to hang it up. Not that they're soon to do that, but these are 2 young guys that can be cornerstones. I think that would be a fun fight. And you could look at it, and if Derek Lewis wins it, hey, you got another contender for Stipe after he's done handling his business with DC on International Fight Weeks. Just another contender there waiting for him.
Both of those, you could do that fight.
I like that. I think it would be fun too. No wrestling required. No jiu-jitsu.
True, but to be champion, you're gonna have that.
I agree.
And if I'm Curtis Blades, listen, I should talk Curtis Blades a bit, okay, on this podcast. But if you're Curtis Blades, you're going to let both of those guys.
You apologize to Curtis though.
Yeah,
I did. You did.
Okay. Well, I'm not apologizing for the standing up and winning that fight. I knew that wasn't happening.
Oh yeah, that was a little ridiculous by me. But go ahead.
But that's like saying Mark Hunt could out wrestle Cain Velasquez. It's not happening. Yeah. It's not happening. He could take the next 20 years. He's not doing it. No. Okay. But like I was gonna say, you got a guy like Curtis Blades who goes, I could probably leapfrog both of them because I could probably wrestle the crap out of both of them. But in saying this, I kind of going back to the fight a bit, I liked how Derek Lewis in the 3rd round approached it. I liked his IQ there. Because remember, between the second and third, I said, okay, Lewis in the first round, yeah, he landed the big punches. Marcin went for the takedown. Marcin did not try to strike a lick.
No.
Well, I mean, he threw like a jab or something or a push kick. But he did not try to throw anything at Lewis that was meant for damage. True, legit damage. And so what I'm thinking in the third round, and even I told you, I said, Lewis needs the 1-1 shot and get out. 1-1 shot and get out. His 1-2s, his 1-2-3s were working. So if you're a striker and you're versing a wrestler, why the hell do people or fighters do these multi-combinations that leave themselves open? No, you don't need to do that. What you want to do is you want to 1-2-3 or 1-2 or 1 and get out. Get out of range where he can take you down. And what the transition that Lewis did in his fight in the third was he went 1 shot, 2 shot, I'm out of there. I'm out of the distance. Anytime you get close to Marcin's going to what? He's going to take you down. He's going to clinch with you. And that's where you're weak at and he's strong at. So what Lewis did in the third a bit is he went 1-2 and then he back up. Right? Or even his knockout sequence of Marcin. What did he do? Get out of the clinch. Disengage and throw. Right? The minute he disengaged and throw, he hit Marcin once, and Marcin was just, I mean, he didn't know what the heck was going on. Next thing you know, he's getting clipped on the chin perfectly, and that's all she wrote. Right? That's how, like, that your wrestling doesn't have to be Daniel Cormier. But you have to have like Ngannou, he was reckless. That's why he took him down by Stipe. Right? Not because Stipe's this crazy great wrestler than him. That's true. But it's also how you approach it. If my hands are low and I don't feel you're striking, it's harder to get the takedown. Right? How did Curtis Blades take down Mark Hunt? He took him down because Mark Hunt got wild on a left hook. Try stopping a takedown. I don't care I don't care if you're Cain Velasquez, Stipe, Daniel Cormier. Try stopping a takedown when your hands are in the air and the guy's shooting at your hips full force. It's hard to do. It's just hard to do. Your hands need to be there. You need to be able to get an underhook. You need to be able to bridge with your hips and get down and low. The way you stop a takedown is simple. But if your hands are up and you're swinging and you're leaning into him as he's driving force at your hips and your legs and pulling him from underneath you, hell, Khabib could take down a heavyweight if you're in the wrong position. And so if you're a striker, you have to learn how to 1-2 and get out. It's a bit of game planning. And going back to the original point, I thought Derek Lewis in the third round took a much more smart way of approaching that fight. I'm not going to engage as much. I'm not going to get into the brawl. I'm not going to overextend and allow Marcin to get me down, because Derek Lewis did have times where he shook him off, and I was actually impressed.
He did have flashes. He
did have flashes where you went, man, he's really trying to get out of things, and he's really thinking about things, and he's really trying to shake Marcin off. And I actually thought that part of his game is something he's never done.
Yeah, no.
Even though he didn't really get him off successfully at times, it was something. It was something where you said, okay, Derek Lewis is obviously making some improvements, because I think if you took a Derek Lewis from 2 years ago, a year ago, he wouldn't have that sort of knowledge and that IQ to even attempt to get out of those situations. So I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, and going with Marcin, look, he lost to Fabricio, he lost to Derek Lewis now. He's still going to be a guy where he's still going to get a marquee fight, I feel like. It's gonna be interesting to see where he lies now, because he did drop down to 9. They haven't done the new fighter rankings, I don't believe, as we're recording this podcast. They haven't done that, so they haven't fluctuated where he sits right now. But I mean, he's a guy that's gonna beat majority of the people outside the top 10. So I think he'll be safe. He did a good job during this fight. He took the fight where he wanted to go. It's just, he got caught slipping that one time, and you can't do that against Derek Lewis, because you'll get put to sleep. But I mean, great knockout by Derek Lewis, and gets back on the winning track, 7 of his last 8. Sticking on the theme of knockouts on this card, because this card was full of knockouts, full of fantastic knockouts. Donald Cerrone beats Yancey with a beautiful right hand followed up by some ground and pound, and he clipped Yancey once before. I wanted him to jump on him, but they're bros, so they hugged it out. But Donald Cerrone got the win, and you know what he said after? He said, I bit down on my mouthpiece, and I said, screw it. Let's swing. And to be honest, I thought before he did that, you could kind of see when he decided that in the way he was fighting, because before he was going in for the clinch a little. He was looking a little tentative. He was looking a little like he wanted the fight to go a couple rounds. I don't like that Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone being the aggressor. Donald Cerrone looking for a finish as soon as the bell rings is a dangerous Donald Cerrone. The welterweight division hasn't been too kind for him, but he picks up a big win. He was number 11 going into this fight. I think he's going to go up into the top 10. And I would like to see him again at welterweight. I do like him at 155, but it seems like he feels comfortable at 170 at the welterweight division. I think good overall win. And it's funny that knockout too, because he caught him with the right hand. Yancey was going for a clinch on the back of the neck with Donald Cerrone with both hands. Wasn't really guarding well, and that's why you saw him get hit, stumbled, and got followed up with a knockout. I thought that was a beautiful combination by Cerrone. What do you think's next for Donald Cerrone, man? I think he sticks to 170. I think he gets a top 10 fight. Got back on the winning track. That's the Donald Cerrone I like to see. Before with the Darren Till and stuff, he looked a little shy. Darren Till is a monster, though. But good win. Go ahead about Darren Till.
I'm on the Darren Till hype train. I think he walks into Woodley right now.
You're driving the bandwagon, Cole.
No, but I just think he has the tools, man. I really do. I told you before that Cerrone fight, I was like, he's going to whoop him.
Yeah. Back to Cerrone. I know you're in love with Darren Till, man, but Cerrone, you want to see him stick at 170? I always liked him more a little bit at 155.
He just came out and said he wants Khabib at 155.
I would love that.
I don't know. He has this weird fascination with 155. I don't know why.
Maybe it's because just go down his track record.
I think there's worse matchups at 155, and I think he looks better at 170.
Yeah, but you got to look at this from a couple points, though, because you look at Cerrone, and he could be going, okay, look at the guys at welterweight. I really don't want... I'm at 11, right? They're probably going to move me up the rankings after this win. Do I really want to face an Usman, a Robbie Lawler again? A Damian Maia, a Kobe Covington? Or does he want to verse, if he goes back over to 155, he might be slotted in number 8. Poirier's a possible winnable fight for him. Edson Barboza is already beat. You could match up with Eddie Alvarez again. I mean, get a rematch with Alvarez. I mean, I think there's more winnable fights at 155. I think 170, he's not as big. Yeah, okay, he went on that run at 170 where he, was demolishing people like Rick Story and that. But when we're talking about the elite of the elite of the elite, I think when you get up to the top 5, there's more dangerous guys at 170 for him than at 155.
I would agree, but I think he looks better at 170 from a physical standpoint.
True.
Remember, the 155, he had mentioned before that it was getting to be a little bit of a hard cut. I believe. Don't quote me on that. But I think that's what was happening. He's always liked 155 because I think he feels like he doesn't have to verse the giants, quote unquote, of the welterweight division, right? And he likes that aspect of it. But man, it's hard because I think physically, he looks better at 170. He doesn't have to cut weight, but I do agree with you that the easier path to a title is easier at lightweight until you hit top 3.
Yes, but
then I think it's even.
But the thing with welterweight, you're looking at 10 to 6, and you go, "Wow, those guys are just as tough as the guys up in the top 5."
Yeah.
Like, does Cerrone really want to verse Usman and possibly, let's say, he gets a win and still be like, "Well, I still got to win 2 more fights to be in the title picture," or does he want to go back to 155 where he can beat, he could verse Eddie Alvarez, and that was a tough matchup, but he knows he can beat Alvarez. He tested his skill against him. Yeah, I would like Donald Cerrone to go back to 155. Final decision 155, I think, for Cerrone. What about you?
To me,
if you were his advisor and you said you got to do this,
I don't think I would call a division. I think I would look at opponent.
You can do that. You can
right?
do that.
Like because if I also would advise him, like, how do we truly feel at 155? How do we truly feel at 170? Who are we fighting at 170? Who are we fighting at 155? How do we match up? Is the UFC going to give us a number 5 guy in this division and then a number 9 in this division? If I beat the number 5 guy, is it more winnable than the number 9? If I beat the number 5 over the number 9, how quickly does that shoot me up to a number 1 contendership match or the title? There's many aspects. I believe he can fight at both, but I think there's a lot of aspects that you have to consider, that he has to consider, and his management has to consider. I truly don't think he's a world champion at either, because I think either division top 3, I think are horrible matchups for him, but lightweight's a bit better, and you don't have to verse the great wrestlers throughout the lightweight division like you do the welter a bit.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
So
there you go. Anyways, back on the winning track, that's where he wants to be. I mean, like you said, if you would have lost 4, that would have been. I mean, it's Donald Cerrone. You can't really cut him, but that would have been not the best record.
Why can't you cut him?
He's a staple.
I heard that comment, like, oh, we shouldn't cut him. Like, why not?
Well, you got to look at opponents too. I mean,
Sure.
he did lose to Robbie Lawler or Darren Till.
I've never truly like. I think you can fire anyone. I think you can fire Stipe if he loses 6 in a row.
Oh yeah, well 6, yeah, but when you look at
but I think you can fire a guy after 3 personally. I look at matchups.
That's a big thing,
2.
matchups. Because if the guy's 0-3 and he's versus the number 1 contender, number 4, and number 6, like you can't be like, well, he sucks now. No, that's ridiculous statement.
Like in all fairness, if some guy comes in and UFC debuts, and for some reason, I don't know, let's say some dude comes in, debuts at welterweight, and knocks out RDA. I would say right away, you would have to give that guy the title shot. Versus a guy who was won 3 in a row, 4 in a row, but he hasn't versed the top 5 guy. I believe it's the last guy you beat should dictate if you're released. I mean, a streak matters, but also the guys you verse. Some guy comes right away and beats the number 1 guy. Well, hell, give him the title shot. He's obviously talented, right? Losing streak, being fired is a little different. I truly think you have to be a guy who's losing outside of the top 10, and it has to be at least 3 times. But
yeah, I would agree.
But if Cerrone did lose this one, you would have to ask that, because what was Yancey ranked in?
15 coming into this.
You lose the Yancey, that question would be there a bit.
Yeah, I would have to.
You know what I
agree.
mean?
Yep. But we don't have to talk about it because it's back on the
but
winning
you
track.
didn't. But
I
you
think he's
didn't.
going to go down to 155 and possibly make another title run. Let's talk about the main event of Bellator, man, because that happened Friday, 2 days before, of course, UFC Austin went down. I want to talk about this for a little bit. Anna Hulaton, Heather Hardy. And this has been getting a lot of criticism on media, saying how bad of a fight it was. But I think people are maybe... They don't fully understand the situation. Maybe they're unfamiliar with these 2 women coming in this fight. Heather Hardy, this was her 3rd professional fight. For Anna Hulaton, I believe this was her 6th.
6, yeah. Listen, it was a bad fight. I'm gonna call it what it was. It was a bad fight. But I'll tell you why it was a bad fight. It was a bad fight because you had 2 people in there who truly aren't 100% versed on all the aspects of MMA.
And here's the thing,
right? It's not that they're women or they're lighter weight. This could be. Ever watched a unranked heavyweight fight? It's not great. It's sloppy.
And here's the thing, if it wasn't for their boxing backgrounds, and give them credit, they were stepping into the Bellator cage against a lot of people that have been training MMA a long time, and they have to pick up a new sport, new assets of this game, and they have to train for it and compete at a high level. And we're like, I think overall in the fight, they didn't do a bad job. I think Anna Hulaton had a good game plan with the clinch. I thought when she took Heather Hardy down, she had did a good job. I thought Heather Hardy, when she was on the ground, did a good job of defending the takedowns as well as hitting the switches, getting out of bad situations and going from defense to offense in those scramble situations. So was it the best fight? No. But here's the thing. People got to understand. If this was any other two women without their accomplished boxing records, they would be in the amateur scene. But no, they were brave enough, good competitors. They took on stepping into Bellator against good competition, and they took it on. I have respect for them. I know people will be on there. Everybody wants everybody. Yeah,
they showed heart.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they didn't show
everybody
heart.
wants the barn burner fight, and when they don't get it, they complain. I thought overall, for how much experience they have, and don't forget, they're still learning the sport, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
They went into fight with limited aspects of MMA, and sometimes when that happens, you get sort of a sloppy, untechnical fight, and hell, sometimes you get a world championship fight that sucks. Because they're both so damn technical, and they both don't want to throw the trigger.
Look at Woodley's one more.
Like it goes both ways. It doesn't mean having a bad fight doesn't mean you're a bad fighter.
No, not at all.
And that's where a guy like Tyrone gets confused, right? You get these dumb fans who say, "Tyrone, you suck. Your fight was boring." Well, the fight did with Wonderboy and him. They did suck from an entertainment aspect.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm an MMA pro dude, right? They sucked.
We want to see Diego Sanchez Melendez every time.
You have to know why. You have to know why something is good or something is bad, right? I'm not here defending those fights, but I understand why Tyrone Woodley Demian Maia sucked. Because if Tyrone lets him take it down, he loses. So he has to be extra caution. Right? You're at a place in MMA where you can't lose and move up. These are like in Pride, you could lose and you could get a tougher guy or a title shot next. Right? You're in the days of wins and losses a bit here. Right? The streak you're on, blah 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 blah. So, was Tyrone a boarding fighter? No. I've seen him one punch Jay Haran, Robbie Lawler, who at that point was an absolute killer. Right? So he's just like these two women, their styles and their lack of experience it didn't mesh. Sometimes it doesn't mesh either. You just get two fighters who their styles just kind of cancel out each other, right?
Yeah.
You sometimes get there with two wrestlers. Two wrestlers both can't take each other down. Their stand-up both is not the most technical. They're not real brawlers either. You get in this weird space of a fight. And I think that's what you got with Heather Hardy and Anna. So
yeah, and I'm looking forward to the boxing match. I think that will be a better fight.
Well, they're both more proficient in it.
Yeah, exactly. But I would have to say this for all these people that think these two women are not good fighters. Wait and see, I would have to say. Because once they evolve more, once they learn more, they're probably already back in the gym. Once they learn more, once they grow more in the sport, these two women are going to be phenomenal.
Listen, Heather Hardy, her last fight in the Bellator cage, I think that was the first time ever in a true fight she's been kicked at. Like, that's how, because, if you go back and watch that fight, like I mentioned on the last podcast, that was the first fight I think she's ever been truly leg kicked that hard. Seen that type of mix of striking, that Muay Thai mix of striking. She's probably seen it in the gym, but she's probably never seen that in an actual combat situation. That's how raw she is. That's how raw Anna is. She's probably never versed a good boxer in an MMA fight. Well, how do you deal with that? What kind of game plan do I go into with? Ngannou kind of suffers from this too, right? What happened to him in the Stipe fight? Well, crap, he's never versed a guy who can wrestle like that. The way you strike against a guy like that is different too, right? When you verse a certain style, your style sometimes has to adapt and change, right? So that's what you saw.
Yeah, I would have to agree with everything you said.
I know I kind of went on the round there, but
like I said, just wait and see. These women will get better. And then you'll look back on this fight and you'll just go, oh, it was just experience. So I think they have long careers. I'm looking forward to the boxing match, so I'm going to tune into that one. I think that's going to be one hell of a fight. Let's move on to the main event of Bellator 194, which was Matt Mitrione picking up the decision over Roy Nelson. And look, we said, you said you don't give Roy Nelson much of a chance in this fight. And we both said, you know what? We would like to see Roy use his ground game more. Because we kind of predicted Matt Mitrione probably, he's in his prime right now. His striking looks good. He's the faster of the two fighters when it comes to striking. And that kind of played out to be what it was because Roy Nelson was getting pieced up on the feet. But then he went to the takedown and he looked phenomenal. He took down Matt Mitrione a couple times. When it comes to the decision, I think it was the right one. I don't think he was doing too much when it came to the takedowns. Look, Roy Nelson, a lot of people were saying, well, he should have maybe won the first round. I don't agree with that. Matt Mitrione got the better of the striking, the stand-up, and when Roy took him down in the first round, he didn't do any damage from the top. Yeah, you get the takedown, but what is a takedown if you don't do any damage? Do we score it that high? I don't agree with that. I like the decision. I know the fans were booing. A lot of people like Roy Nelson. You know, a lot of fans love him, the KO punch. But I would... Yeah, Roy didn't win that fight. I thought Matt Mitrione won it.
Roy didn't win Roy's lucky he's got a good chin. That's all I'm going to say. Because if Roy doesn't have the chin he has, he's out within the first 2 minutes of that fight.
But he knows that, and he relies on his chin a lot.
Yeah, but... Okay, I liked Roy Nelson when he did, because we did say that, okay, if he's going to have his success in this fight, he's going to have to go with the takedown, right? He's going to have to go with the takedown. And he proved that he did that. He proved that he did that, and he found success. So we were right about that, and I'm glad to see he did that. But it was almost like a little too late.
Yeah.
Like, and I know what you're going to say, he did it in the first round. Yeah, with a minute left. After you got pieced up for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
In the second round, you did it for 2 minutes and didn't do no damage. After you got pieced up for 350 of the second round. The only round where you really took him down in the first and you actually did some damage was the third round. And that was not a 10-8, by the way.
No, that's not a 10-8. The only reason why... Did Matt Mitrione have any offense? No. But Roy did have the crucifix for a while, but I know the rules changed, but for me, a 10-8 still has to be a dominant round. I think it was a dominant round, but it wasn't like, oh my God, get Matt Mitrione out of there. He's about to get TKO kind of thing.
Do you, when Roy Nelson had Matt Mitrione in the crucifix and was landing those baby kind of ground and pound punches, do you have a problem if a ref stops that fight?
You know what?
Because I thought about it and was like, okay, if you're Matt Mitrione and you've clearly won the first 2 rounds, okay, and then you get taken down and someone who's basically holding you up and baby punching you, and that those punches can't really stop you from an aspect of they're gonna rock you and put you out. Should the ref stop it?
That's an interesting question because I mean.
Because if you're not Mitrione, you could go, well, hell, he could do it. He could do it for 10 minutes, and I could just deal with it and win the fight.
You know what? I think it all depends on the ref. I think it depends if the ref's going, hey, yeah, he's eating shots, but they're not really damaging.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is the thing. Does a ref go, oh, he's taking shots, I gotta stop it? Or does a ref go, hey, they're shots, but
you gotta look at the significance of those shots.
Exactly. They're not damaging shots. The guy's not. Like, Matt Mitrione was trying to get out of the way.
Who was the ref? Because he was kind of... There were times where he was kind of close to stopping it. And I kind of thought, like, if you're Matt Mitrione and you've clearly won the first 2 rounds, and then you look at that and you're like, okay, well, he's in a very bad position. He's eating shots, but it's like I won the 2 first rounds and I'm getting, baby leg kicked for a whole round. Does the ref stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, the ref was Dan Marighella, to answer your question. And
I don't think he did a bad job at all. I don't think he did a bad job at all. But it was just a question that popped into my mind when this was happening. I was like, man, What if he stopped that?
Yeah.
And Matt Mitrione could have a legit argument and go up to him and say, that's a great spot in MMA. It's a great spot in MMA.
Yeah, I think it depends on the ref. I wouldn't stop it. I mean,
it's different if you're landing Jeremy Stevens versus
Duho Choi shots.
Choi,
Yeah.
and bam, bam, and these things are winding up behind his head versus these little tatter-pitter punches.
It's interesting because it goes against the rules of defending yourself intelligently. He's in the crucifix.
Yeah.
He's not taking huge shots, but he's not doing anything to defend himself. So how long is he sitting in this situation? Should I jump in and stop it? And then it goes from a situation of, okay, he's eating shots, but I mean they're not really hurting. I guess it depends in the moment of the ref what way is he viewing it from. I think he did a good job not stopping it.
If you were a ref, how would you view that? Because I think you would talk to a lot of people who would have a lot of different opinions on that.
Here's the thing. I would let it go until it came up to like a minute, and then I would go, hey man, I gotta stop the fight. Yeah, they're not hard shots, but I
what's the time limit for you? Like at what point?
Shots like that, maybe 35 to 40 seconds. If they're like bigger shots when the guy was elbowing him, like John Jones crucifix elbows, then you're going, okay, 5 seconds. You get hit with 2 elbows, I'm saving your partner. I'm looking after your health.
I would let it go the whole 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, and I'm going to say my point.
Say your point, then I'm going to.
Because my point is, I don't look for. I'm not a big believer in touching a guy. Point karate. I don't believe in the point karate thing where, I have a huge problem also with significant strikes. I see significant strikes and, this guy's landed 30 significant, and I go, the guy hasn't landed 1. What are you talking about? A significant strike to me is a strike that does clear damage. The guy's head snapbacks, sort of thing. It could lead to a finish of a fight, or it does massive damage. Right? Not because here's my thing. There's a lot of guys in the UFC that those punches, I mean, they could take that for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Because Matt Mitrione, honestly, probably could have stayed in that crucifix and took those punches for 15 minutes.
But here's the thing with that.
If you said Matt Mitrione, stay in that spot for 15 minutes and you get the win, he'd probably say, yeah, I'm good.
But here's the thing. You can't do that as a ref because then you're going, okay, the person who's hitting, okay, like...
But it clearly wasn't hurting him.
No, but at the same time, obviously there's one man dominating the other and you should stop the fight.
Then why not stop Khabib...
Edson Barboza.
Edson Barboza. That's a clear domination.
Yeah, but the thing is with that is he was always kind of moving. If you have someone in a like the most dominant position ever,
moving, but at his own will, not really.
If you have someone in such a dominant position like the crucifix, which is probably the most dominant in MMA, like next to Mount, probably better than that.
Yeah, next to Mount strikes. Yeah.
Then, I mean, you can't sit there and let the guy even punch the guy for 5 minutes. Then you got to draw a line. But yeah, like I mean,
is it only because it's the head? What if there's a position where some guy was just getting baby leg kicked, bam, bam, for 5 minutes straight? Would you view it the same?
No, it's because of his head.
It's because of the head, right?
Yeah, 100%. But I mean,
it's a weird question.
Overall, I think Daniel Murguía did good. Moving on with Matt Mitrione, he's got the winner of Bader King Mo. I think we're both predicting Bader on that. Am I right?
For Bader King Mo?
Yeah.
I think Bader's just more elite.
Here's the thing.
In the stand-up.
We're hypothetically, King Mo still has a really good shot of beating Bader and moving on into the
They're
semifinals.
very similar.
Yes.
I think Bader's just more in his prime.
Yes, I would have to agree.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, let's talk. I think Mitrione versus Bader is actually favorable to Mitrione.
Yeah.
So
they both are.
I think Mitrione might have a pretty good shot of. I'm not going to say cruise because that's far from the truth. But he has a good chance to be in the finals.
Okay, well let's.
Well, I picked him to win the damn tournament.
Let's just say Matt Mitrione lands the type of shots he landed on Roy. Bader and King Mo probably go to sleep. Can Bader and King Mo get on top of take Matt Mitrione down and get on top of him and be that kind of top heavy to as much as Roy was on Matt Mitrione? Probably not. So, but then again, Bader and King Mo probably are, well, they are better at striking defense than Roy. Roy's like his fighting defense is okay. You're gonna hit me 3 times, and hopefully I'm not hit the overhand right. So, Matt Mitrione probably takes both of those fights, but he did look. I was one criticized of Matt Mitrione was he looked very gassed early on. Now he contributed that to basically I threw everything into those shots in the first round. And Roy took him like a champ, and it was just like, well, most men would go down, right? And Roy just did it, and that's why I got kind of tired, which I understand. Just go to the heavy bag and throw power shots for 5 minutes straight. You're gonna get tired real quick. I get it. So yeah, no, I give Matt Mitrione definitely a. I mean, who's in his? I mean, no, that's the semifinals, isn't it?
The semifinals coming up.
That's it's gonna be. So he's in the semis and he's versus Bader King Mo. Yeah, no, he's got a great shot to get in the finals, man. He's got a great shot.
Yeah, I would have to agree. But
his next fight is gonna be easier from an aspect of he'll be able to knock out the guy, whoever he's versing a little easier.
He weighs in at 255.
He'll be heavier. You won't have to verse as good of a top heavy wrestler, but the talent that King Mo and Bader come in with, as far as their all around game, is better than Roy.
And you know what? Bader and King Mo have good wrestling, and we did see Matt Mitrione struggle with takedown defense against Roy this fight.
Well, Roy's very heavy.
Yes,
he's a very heavy
exactly
guy.
what I was going to say. But the difference is the size and strength of these true light heavyweights coming up to heavyweight. Is that going to be a factor? It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to go down.
But Bader and King Mo
can wrestle.
Well, no, they can outstrike Roy any day of the week.
True.
So Matt Mitrione isn't. I think he's at an advantage from the standpoint of it's an easier go from a weight and top heavy, and you'll be able to hit the guy and knock him out easier. But you'll be versing 2 guys in Bader and Mo who will both have better striking, both be a little faster, and both have a more technical aspect to the ground game.
Yep, I would have to agree. But so far, so good for Matt Mitrione. He's in the semifinals. Now, let's move on to talk about this weekend's card, which is UFC on Fox 28, coming live from Orlando, Florida, in the Amway Center. And really good undercard. Just looking at this for a second.
Oh, the prelims are sick.
Yeah, really good undercard. Ben Saunders, Alan Gerain, Angela Hill's on that. Of course, Sarah McMahon is on there as well. Hannah Burrell versus Brian Keller. I mean, phenomenal undercard. But let's take a look at the main card right here. Mike Perry versus Max Griffin. Mike Perry coming off that highly anticipated contest on the last Fox against Santiago Ponzinibbio, where he lost that by decision. He did say he needed to work on his cardio, so we'll see how that is going into this fight. But Max Griffin is also coming off a loss. Max Griffin 1-2 within his 3 fights inside the UFC. Of course, Mike Perry has a little bit better record than that. Who you got winning this fight? I think Mike Perry will win this fight. Probably I'm gonna go first round KO. I'm gonna pull a card out of your hat. I'm gonna go first round KO.
I'm going the same thing.
I think he has the power.
Yeah.
I think Max Griffin. You know what? He's lost a couple he lost Colby Covington, I should say, fight by KO punches. He sometimes loses some decisions. I mean,
he's not on Mike Perry's level. Let's just call it what it is. He's not.
I would have to agree. I would have to look and go,
And who's got more ways of finishing this fight? Mike Perry?
I would have to go Mike Perry.
Also, Mike Perry has the most dangerous weapon in this fight.
Which is the striking.
I honestly love Mike Perry. The only reason why I didn't pick him in the last fight, because I just thought that Santiago has the same kind of power and has the movement to kind of move out of Perry's striking. And I thought Santiago was the first fighter that Mike Perry had to verse that would take that kind of game plan at him. The movement game plan. The 1-2 strikes, the in and outs. And I always think when a fighter hasn't dealt with that, it's another level. It's another step they have to take. And I think Mike Perry going through that fight has learned a lot. And when he sees that the next time, it won't be as of a shock. It won't be as of an adjustment. He'll be used to that type of things. And I just think he's on a different level in this fight. Will it be easy? No. Is there a danger factor? No. But I think he's going to get it done. I mean, the guy's a savage. You know, he'll get this done.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So we're going Mike Perry first round KO?
Yes.
Nothing against Max Griffin. I just think experience, you know, most of his wins.
At this point, Mike Perry's just on a different level.
Yeah, and, you know, yeah, I would have to agree. I think this is a fight that Max Griffin took, saying, hey, look, if I win this, hey, I'm skyrocketing up. If not, it is what it is. But
I'm not going 0% chance.
Yeah.
I'll give him 20.
Okay, let's move on to Ovince St. Preux versus Ilie Latifi in this fight. Of course, Ilie Latifi is coming off that win back in September when he beat Tyson Pedro, who we saw at UFC 221, who had a good victory. And he's versus Ovince St. Preux, who is going against Corey Anderson. Now, I'm gonna say this. Beautiful head kick knockout of Corey Anderson at UFC 217 on the prelim card. Beautiful come-behind win. The only thing was, in that fight, Ovince St. Preux, tall, athletic, explosive. The thing for me is, will he be able to stop the takedowns of Ilie Latifi? Because Ilie Latifi realizes, hey, I'm a stocky guy. I'm strong, though. He's big, he's tall, he's explosive. I can win this fight on the ground. I think Ilie Latifi is going to want to get this on the ground, want to hold him down, smother him, ground and pound. My question to you is, does OSP possess what it takes to stuff Ilie Latifi's takedowns and use his length, use his jab to keep this fight standing up where he wants, possibly cruise to a decision, or get another head kick knockout like he just got?
Ovince St. Preux is going to knock him out in the first 3 minutes.
You really? Whoa.
I give Latifi no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Oh, come on.
When I saw Ovince St. Preux at a 1-7, I said, that's disrespectful to him. Listen, if OSP comes in here with the right game plan, I don't know how he can lose. I just don't know how. Right? Okay, you said he had problems with Corey Anderson, and he did. Why, though? Well, because Corey Anderson can strike decently. And when you can strike decently, you can make St. Preux respect you.
I would have to say
right?
Corey Anderson has better striking than Latifi.
No, but when Corey Anderson made OSP respect his striking.
Yes.
When OSP has to respect his striking, what does he has to? He has to focus on that. Put his hands up. The takedown's easier. Latifi can't strike with OSP. Let's be honest. Let's be brutally honest. He can't, right?
I would say this is the where OSP can win the fight is the striking.
Exactly.
He's got 7-inch reach advantage on him as well.
Do you think Latifi could if they did a stand-up fight, what percentage would you give Latifi?
25.
Jesus, that's high.
Oh my god.
I give him 0.0.
Look, I think Ilie Latifi is going to have to take him down to the fight. I'm not saying Latifi is going to head kick him for God's sake.
So Latifi, I would agree. If Latifi can get him down, he can win the fight.
But Latifi also is a strong, powerful wrestler.
Yes, but if you OSP,
OSP,
you know what's coming.
OSP needs to do the game plan of low kick, jab, 1-2, foot movement.
Wow.
Don't get backed up against the cage.
Punch him and move.
Don't
get in the clinch. Pull the what Derek Lewis did in the 3rd round. That's how you beat these wrestlers, man. It's not hard. Now, can you run the game plan? Can you not overextend? That's where
he needs to use the 7-inch reach he's got at Ilie Latifi.
Okay,
and jab him and create the distance.
So we're in agreement on my 0% chance.
No,
for Latifi. No, what? Hold on. If OSP comes in there and strikes with distance and movement, Latifi's screwed.
I think that's a recipe for success. But Ilie Latifi could push him back if OSP takes that one chance and puts his back against the cage. Latifi can get down, land it.
Where's the ball in whose court?
Well, always starts off setting up so OSP. But here's the thing: I
think he can dictate it more.
I agree,
100%.
But I'm not giving Ilie Latifi 0 shot.
I'm giving him 0 shot.
You're ridiculous. I think
could he even finish him on the ground?
Yeah. Oh.
What's
the hate for Ilie?
He might get that Von Vluch choke.
Von Fluke choke?
Yeah,
that'd be ridiculous if OSP got that.
Would you be surprised? I wouldn't.
That would be ridiculous. If
I want to bet off that
yeah,
once.
you did. I think Latifi can get the takedown, and I think OSP would be in trouble if that's the case. I'm not giving him zero chance. Look,
OSP's athletic, though.
I'm picking OSP by decision. I know you're going knockout. I'm going decision. I think he's good. I'm going to say he's going to do the James Vick thing. He's going to create his distance, use movement, use low kicks, use the jab, circle around, and get the victory. Look, OSP doesn't need to go to a stretch here. He doesn't need to get the knockout. Do what you need to do. I think Eli Latifi needs to press the action more to get the takedown because 7 inches reach is a lot when that jab's popping you in the face. I think Eli's going to have to push him back a little, be more aggressive, and hopefully land a takedown.
How can you push him back?
Got to eat some shots sometimes. Yeah, he's against the reach and stuff, but look at the game plan.
OSP hits him with one good thing.
Yeah, but, okay. I see what you're saying, but listen, this is the way Eli Latifi, he's going to want to take it to the ground.
Okay, yeah. He's got to shoot a double.
Cool.
But trying to get inside on a guy like OSP is tough.
We've seen tons of guys that have reach, striking ability, and they can't stop a takedown for a lick. We've seen this happen before too.
So not if you come with the right game plan.
Yeah, but some people come with the right game plan. Do they execute it? No. So we're sitting here going OSP has the reach, the explosiveness, the striking, the kicks. He has all this. But is he going to get in there on Saturday night and execute it?
On the TV. Well, you'd hope so.
Okay.
Hell, you'd hope so.
Okay. Like this isn't where I was going. Okay, this isn't Latifi where he stepped in on Masasi and made his UFC debut. He's
this
growing.
might be worse.
Yeah. Give me your prediction. I can't keep up with this. Give me your prediction.
OSP has more dangerous strikes than Gegard Masasi. It's a harder fight.
Give me your prediction. I'm done with this topic. I'm done. This is ridiculous.
OSP.
If Latifi wins, you owe another apology, by the way. I want you to tweet him.
Listen, Latifi's he's been prone to distance strikes. He has. Look at the Beta KO. Look at the Masasi fight. He doesn't do well with that. It's just a fact of life.
What's your prediction?
You know, it's just a fact. He doesn't do well with it. It's just a fact of life. I'm not being mean. I'm not being rude. I'm just okay. Maybe the 0%'s a little, fucked
That's
up.
outlandish. But
yeah, but okay. I'll give him 10% because of the takedown. But I just think here's my thing. I just have a problem. I'm not picking Latifi because I don't believe he can finish OSP on the ground either. Right? There's difference between a wrestler that can get someone on the ground and can ground and pound the shit out of them and finish it within a minute versus a guy who has to do that for 3 rounds to win a 29-28 decision. Huge difference in my books. I don't see Latifi as that guy who can finish the fight on the ground. Therefore, I don't give him a great shot because now I'm saying to myself, okay, if he has to win, he has to take OSP down multiple times and hold him down there for rounds at a time. I just don't think that's possible. Right? Now, if he had crazy ground and pound, like Cain Velasquez style, okay, now we're in a different thing. Now I'm giving him a 50-50 shot. I just don't see a place where Latifi can stop OSP. And when you're it's kind of like that Marcin versus Lewis, right? I don't like picking dudes or fighters that don't have the finishing ability, whether that be strikes, whether that be ground and pound, whether that be submission, right? Getting decisions are hard. For 2 reasons. One, you got to win 2 out of 3 rounds. Second, judges got to go your way. What's not hard? Stop finishing fights. I mean, it's hard to do because there's great fighters, but it's the easiest way to a win. First round KO is the easiest way to win a fight. Can we agree on that? So
yes.
The guy who can do that probably more likely has a chance to win. Right, I know, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know my prediction.
I'm going OSP
first round KO.
I'm going OSP 29-28 decision.
Yeah, I respect that too.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to the co-main event. Tecia Torres versus Jessica Andrade. Of course, Jessica Andrade is coming off a great performance, I thought, against Claudia Gadelha.
This is my toughest Toughest one, the pick of the night.
And I got Tisha Torres coming off a beautiful decision win over Michelle Waterson, which she dominated that. Look, I am shocked that Tisha Torres, being a 10-1 fighter, coming off 3 wins in the UFC strawweight division, is such an underdog against Jessica Andrade. Look, I think Jessica Andrade is phenomenal.
Well,
but I mean to say, I think this fight's staying on the feet.
Vegas, I think that's because Vegas is playing MMA math.
Maybe.
And what they're doing is sort of like, well, Claudia only got beat by Joanna, right? And outside of Joanna, Andrade's the only one to beat her. Therefore, she must be at that championship level. With Tisha Torres, I mean, what's her biggest win to date?
Michelle Waterson.
Probably Waterson. And is Waterson at that level? At championship level? Probably not.
I can see what you're saying, but I mean...
That's where I think Vegas is at, not where I'm at.
Well, when I look at this fight, I go, okay, Tisha Torres has very good kickboxing. Jessica Andrade, those looping hooks, but she puts pressure on you. It's going to be interesting to see how this fight goes. I think the difference in this fight is Tisha Torres has a great body kick. And she throws good combinations whenever you're coming in. So I think Jessica Andrade, she likes to throw the looping hooks a little. You know, she comes in kind of her head down. That was the thing with a couple fights against Joanna too. She kind of bites out in the mouthpiece and kind of goes. If Tisha Torres kind of plays off the playbook, what Joanna did with the fast jab, the fast punches, the kicks, I think she'll be good. I'm going to take the dog in this fight. I'm going to say Tisha Torres, of course, by decision like more strawweight women's fights. And I will go 29-28 Tisha Torres. Probably by split decisions, can be so close. But I have the kicks being a big factor in this fight for Tisha Torres getting the win.
Well, I'm going the complete opposite. I'm going 29-28 Andrade.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. When she versed Claudia, it was my eye-opening experience to how freaking good of a strong grappler she is.
Yes.
When she was ragdolling Claudia, you went, whoa. Because Claudia does that to other girls.
True.
Or other women fighter in the division. And when it reminded me of when Daniel Cormier ragdolled Henderson. And you're like, what? He's ragdolling Henderson? That guy's a Greco all-Olympian. Right? So when Andrade did that to Claudia, I was like, whoa, she's a different level of grappler and different level of strength, right? When Andrade did that to Claudia, I was just like, wow, man, these other women are going to have serious problems with that type of ground and pound, that type of, I mean, she gets a hold of you in the clinch and it's like, what are you going to do, right? She's so strong for a strawweight, it's ridiculous. So I have her 29-28, 2-1 rounds. Tisha Torres, I think, dominates more of the... I think she can out-technically box and kickbox Andrade. But Andrade, I mean, we've seen her. She eats one that she takes one to give one a little bit.
And even in the Joanna and Jacek fight, she was tossing her up in the air. Joanna just would bounce back up on her feet because she's really good at when she gets taken down, getting right back to her feet. But she does have. She's the strongest in this division, bar none.
She is the toughest. Andrade is the toughest. She's the toughest, even though she might not win all of her fights, like Joanna and stuff. She is the toughest outing for anyone. She's strong. You want to hit her with everything in the toolbox, and she never went away, right? I mean, how many strikes you want to hit on her? I don't even know. I want to say like 300 plus in total. Yeah. I mean, it was a 5-round of getting smoked.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
And she was the aggressor the whole fight.
Well, that's her style, man. That's her style.
So if you're Tisha Torres, you have to be ready for that level of constant pressure. But you can sort of off-put that with great striking. Now, is her striking good enough like a Joanna's? I mean, she's not Joanna, but is it decent enough where she can keep Andrade at bay? And the movement, right? Tough fight, man. Tough fight.
Yeah.
This one I really had to think about. Go, whoa. Most fights I can come on and give you like, oh, I think that person's probably into it. This is one where I just sit down and go, man, this is not an easy fight for either women.
Yeah, it's hard matchup, man. And you look at this fight and you go,
this is the next contender. Agreeing?
Yeah,
like, the winner is the next person.
Yeah,
up.
I would have to agree 100%. This is the number one contender fight for after when Johan and Rose settle their rematch. This is the next woman up for the title.
Yeah.
Going to the main event, man, Josh Emmett taking on Jeremy Stephens. Quick turnaround for Jeremy Stephens, by the way, after his knockout win with Doo Ho Choi. Jeremy Stephens on a run here, man. Look, that fight with Gilbert Melendez, we was chopping the legs down. And then all of a sudden, Doo Ho Choi, where he clipped him with that beautiful punch and followed up. You got a guy in Josh Emmett, and I'll just say this. Beautiful left hook that he landed on Ricardo Lamas. Knocked him out cold. This is when we finally saw his power in the UFC. Because he got some TKO victories in his past, but kind of decisions, and this is where he came out. Am I going to go and say this is going to be a barn burner, power versus power guy? I think more of the power lies with Jeremy Stephens, because throughout his career, he's been known for power. He's been the guy with the heavy hands, putting people to sleep. I don't like how Josh Emmett is ranked ahead of Jeremy Stephens. Yeah, I understand. 13-1, only lost one, but
well, that's just because he beat a higher ranked guy.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
So I agree with I agree with the rankings, but who's the favorite? Well, Vegas says Stephens.
Yeah,
and that's because Stephens has, like you said, they both have power. They both are really good, but who is the more proven track record?
Jeremy Stephens.
Jeremy Stephens has a more proven track record of winning, experience, and KOs. So if you were to place your money somewhere, you'd probably go Stephens, right? He's proven to you more that he can get it done in that style more than Josh Emmett. Now, Josh Emmett could go out there, knock him out, and you go, okay, that's who he is, and he is that really good. He was losing that fight to, even though it was a really close fight up to when he knocked out Ricardo, he was losing a bit, I think, on my scorecard. But, he did prove that he has that one shot.
Knockout
power, right? I mean, now you could say, well, he hasn't really had that, and maybe he got a little lucky, blah, blah, blah. He did land it, though, so you have to respect him.
Yep, 100%.
My prediction is Stephens. It's a 5-rounder, right?
Yep.
That's not. I have a feeling that's not going the distance.
I have Stephens TKO in the third round. I think Josh Emmett's going to he's going to open a lot of people's eyes. He is a dog in this fight, even though he's ranked ahead. But he hasn't really gotten on the radar of the mainstream until his knockout of Lamas. So I think people are underestimating him a little bit. I think he's going to put up a really good fight. I think Stevenson, though, is game. He's a veteran. And I think he's the one that could probably land the knockout blow first. That's the reason why I'm going with him.
You know what? I'm going Stephens, and I'm going... I'm just trying to choose the round. I'm going to go... I think they're going to get into it pretty quick. I'm going to go second round. TKO for Stephens.
There we go. So we're agreeing with Stephens. Look, like I said, I think this is going to be a phenomenal fight. This is a really good Fox from top to bottom, dude. The main card's amazing. Open St. Prove, Latifi, the third fight, Mike Perry, Max Griffin opening up. Of course, Andrade,
great
Torres.
Depth. Great
yes,
depth.
Henry Barao on there too. Sarah McMahon, Angela Hill, Alan Joban, Ben Saunders. It's a really good fight. Really good fight. So fight card, I should say, top to bottom. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah. It's gonna be a good one.
No, yeah, it's good. Like the depth of this Fox is pay-per-view-ish. Now it doesn't have the headline or the marquee fight, but when you look top to bottom and you're looking for exciting fights throughout the prelims and main, I think this is one of these UFC fight nights or Foxes. I think that's you know how some of them are they just put on better fights than a pay-per-view. Yeah. I think this is one of these cards that I think you're going to see lots of knockout, lots of action, and some exciting, crazy crap going on.
So. I would have to agree. The good thing is, this was episode 33. Episode 34, we're actually going to preview UFC 222, where Chris Cyborg defends her title. And of course, Frankie Edgar, Brian Ortega, a fight I was lobbying for, and they got it on that card, so I'm really happy about that. But enjoy Fox Fight Night 28 this weekend. We'll catch you up next time. If you haven't already, you know the drill. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud. We're on everywhere podcasts are. Really, we are. I've been signing us up like crazy. So wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you check us out. Overhand Rate Radio. Search it up. We'll be there. Thank you very much. We'll check you out next time.